Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. So Chris Eubank Jr. gets a well-deserved 12-round unanimous decision points win over Conor Benn. Let's talk about it. Now, the big story before the opening bell was the fact that Chris Eubank Sr. actually turned up to this fight. I'll address that in a separate video. But this matchup played out pretty much the way I expected it to. I picked Eubank Jr. to win on points. I thought that Conor Benn would come out fast, and it might take a couple rounds for Eubank Jr. to adjust to the speed of Benn and the ferocity with which he attacks you. And that's how it was. I thought Conor Benn was poor in the first round. He was way too overexcited, swinging all sorts of wild shots. Eubank was definitely the more calm of the two, being the veteran. He just got behind his jab. His movements were much more controlled and relaxed. But for some strange reason, the commentary was extremely pro-Benn from the get-go. Eubank Jr. was landing nice jabs in the first half of the fight. When I say nice jabs, these were not flicking shots. These were shots that would often knock Conor Benn's head back, clearly. And somehow this was all missed by the commentary team. And whenever Conor Benn would swing a big hook, which was usually blocked, the narrative was, oh, Conor Benn's getting the better of it here. So yeah, I found the commentary to be very, very strange. Because what I saw was Eubank Jr., despite Conor Benn's wild rushes, landing the more clean, effective shots. Mostly jabs, but they were solid jabs. As I say, knocking Conor Benn's head back. So I gave the first round to Eubank. I think I might have given the second round to Benn, or it was even perhaps. Third round I definitely gave to Benn because that's the round where he staggered Eubank Jr. with a left hook. Now watching it live, I thought he'd hurt Eubank, and he might have done, but when I watched it again today, I'm not sure how much of Eubank's staggering was down to the concussive effect of the punch and how much of it was down to that slippy advertisement in the middle of the ring, because he was standing on that when he got hit with a shot, and fighters were slipping on that all night. So yeah, I'm not sure after watching it a second time whether Eubank was hurt or not. In any event, that was a Conor Benn round, but after that, Eubank got back in control again behind his jab, started mixing in some uppercuts and combinations, and that experience told. From let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, it wasn't until round 8 or 9 that Conor Benn managed to break Eubank's momentum. Then he had a good couple rounds where he came back, I thought very impressively, because he was starting to get predictable, which is something I spoke about in my pre-fight videos. Eubank Jr. was timing him, not just with the jab now, but also catching him with uppercuts quite consistently. But kudos to Conor Benn for taking the shots. He was up here at middleweight against a much naturally bigger man, and up until the last round, he never appeared to be even buzzed by anything that Eubank Jr. hit him with. But as I say, Conor Benn came back around the 8th and the 9th, 10th, those sort of rounds. But then Eubank Jr. came back. His legs apparently were dead tired at that point. So he dispensed with the long-range boxing and jabbing and just decided to walk forward and use his extra size and strength to smother Conor Benn and bludgeon him on the inside with hooks and uppercuts. And that's another thing that I spoke about in one of my pre-fight videos. That later on in the fight, Eubank might become physical with Benn as the pace slows. And that's what happened. Although I thought he might become physical with Benn as the pace slows. Not necessarily because he doesn't have the legs anymore, but rather to try and close the show. But what I saw was a guy in Eubank who didn't have the legs. And that's why he elected to take the fight to the inside. That's my interpretation of it anyway. And so that's how Eubank Jr. won the final 2 rounds. By marching forward, being the bigger, stronger man, not allowing Conor Benn to get his shots off. And he appeared to rock Conor Benn against the ropes in the 12th. In fact, he might have rocked him in the 11th as well. I forget now, but certainly in the 12th, towards the end of the round, Conor Benn looked rocked. He came firing back, showed bags of heart, and the crowd were on their feet at the final bell. So all in all, a good, entertaining scrap. And the card needed it because the rest of the fights on the show were lackluster. I'll speak about those in separate videos. But the vast majority of people who bought tickets, the vast majority of people who bought pay-per-views, I have to imagine, were showing up for the main event. And the main event delivered. That's the most important thing. The judges had it unanimous for Eubank, 8 rounds to 4. I didn't score it round by round watching it live, but I watched it a second time, and I can't argue with 8-4 scorecards at all. Maybe 7-5, but 8-4, no problem. Eubank Jr. for me was the clear winner. I think viewers who were drinking alcohol and were caught up in the drama and were maybe not watching closely enough to see the fact that Eubank Jr. was actually landing clean, effective jabs that were rocking Conor Benn's head back, those people, I think, thought the fight was a lot closer than it actually was. Because they're seeing a guy in Conor Benn frenetically coming forward, swinging all these big punches, whereas Eubank Jr.'s not doing anything so extravagant. He's just sticking to the basics, straight shots, jab here, move there, clinch a little bit. And there was a point in the fight, actually, when the clinching got a little bit much. I think the referee had a word with him. In fact, speaking of the referee, he was pro Conor Benn all night. It was crazy. I don't recall Ben even getting a warning in the fight for all the fouls he was committing. He was pushing the inside of his glove into Eubank's face. He was reckless with the head many times. But it was only Eubank getting warnings. I'm not saying Eubank didn't commit any fouls himself, but Ben was able to get away with the fouls scot-free, in clear view of the referee. It was incredible. So it was like pro-Ben commentary, pro-Ben refereeing. Thankfully, there wasn't pro-Ben judges. The judges were fair. I mean, think about all the advantages that Conor Benn demanded and eventually got in this fight. The rehydration clause, the 18-foot ring, which is a small ring. He tried to send Billy Joe Saunders to watch Eubank getting his hands wrapped, although Napa, Eubank Jr.'s manager, shut that down. Eddie Hearn was so smarmy and just unlikable in the run-up to this fight. His unlikableness, I want to say, outdid Conor Benn. Because Conor Benn wasn't too popular going into this fight after the PED egg controversy, right? Anyway, Eubank Jr. got the win. He was cut in there, clash of heads. He's got those high cheekbones, so his face was a bit swollen. Conor Benn took some facial damage as well. All in all, a good tough fight, an entertaining fight, and the British public, particularly casual fans, were thrilled. I'm not saying only casual fans, okay? I'm not saying if you like this fight, it means you're a casual. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was entertaining. But as a hardcore fan, if we really break down and analyze what happened here, you had an unproven welterweight stepping up 2 weight classes to take on an over-the-hill middleweight. That's what it was. It wasn't Kell Brook Triple G. Kell Brook was a world champion, a proven guy at 147, stepping up to fight a proven guy at 160. Both fighters in their primes. This was an unproven Conor Benn against the jaded Chris Eubank Jr. The only reason this fight happened is because of nostalgia. If their surnames weren't Ben and Eubank, nobody would have cared about the fight. Seriously, if they were the exact same fighters that they are, with the exact same abilities that they have, but they didn't have those surnames and they weren't the sons of these great ex-fighters, then the matchup probably would never have happened. Nobody would have wanted it to happen. But it did because of, as I say, nostalgia. Because the nostalgia allowed for a commercial bonanza. Now, should there be a rematch? In my view, absolutely not. Why? I'll cover that in a separate video. Stay tuned. But to sum up, it was a good, exciting, competitive fight, but the right man won. It went pretty much the way I expected and predicted. But give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you like the fight? Is it what you expected? I'll leave it there. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform? Who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things? Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop and download all my podcasts in high-quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.